mistakes. So. Oh, Catherine, I also want to, first of all, apologize for not attending the previous meeting. I have made a calendar issue mistake, so.
No problem. You know, it happens. All right. So I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order at 6:02 p.m. Take attendance. Catherine, chair, is here. Susanna is also here. And we've got, it looks like one other person. Hi, Sean, calling in on Zoom. So the first up is review and approve committee minutes. Motion A, approve the GTLNC December 14, 2021 Environmental Affairs Committee minutes. Do I have a first?
Susanna.
Thank you. And I, Catherine, will second. Very quickly, before we begin discussion on the specific item, the reason there are no minutes for the February meeting is that it was canceled because of no one attending. So we're working on the December minutes. Any questions or comments or requests to change the December 14th minutes?
No.
Great, then we'll go to a vote. Suzanne, how do you vote?
Positive, yes.
Great, Catherine votes yes as well. Minutes are passed 2-0-0. Great, so we'll dive into public comment time. So Sean, go ahead and raise your hand if you have a public comment on environmental. Welcome, Sean.
Greetings and salutations.
Hello.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Excellent, excellent. So this is sort of environmental, and I don't know, and you could stop me if it's not. So a gentleman came on to the public safety last night regarding the mobility plan, the 2030 mobility plan. And he was talking about, with respect to that mobility plan, increasing or resurfacing streets specifically to allow people the opportunity to move around. That's both cars, bicycles, pedestrians, busways, etc. So he came on, and I just wanted to just kind of remind everyone that he's going to be out at the next public safety meeting. So I was just putting that out there.
That sounds good. Is this a member of the public or someone from the city?
He's neither. He's a grassroots guy that's trying to like Better Streets LA. He's part of Better Streets LA, and it's, you know, me being a cyclist, I want to make sure that we have a little bit more opportunity to kind of see, you know, try to increase the opportunity to have more bike lanes and or better streets that are better equipped to kind of handle everybody's traffic.
And I guess
Great.
also from an environmental perspective, there are surfaces that's a more environmental friendly, or they are made of recycled materials.
I believe the idea is to, if we had a better infrastructure that allowed for the opportunity for people to, let's say, get on a bicycle, for example, and if you get out of the car and onto the bicycle, ergo, you're doing something for the environment.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a
although
little bit-
Susanna does bring up a good point in that if we are working toward adjusting our multimodal transit options and making sure that we have these improvements to the way streets are paved and, you know, striped and all of that, also making sure that at the same time we're using materials that are environmentally friendly. We're using materials, for instance, like the Cool Streets material with the lighter colored street colors to help reduce the sort of heat island effects that happen. So yeah, I think we'll make an effort to attend the public safety meeting next month when they'll be there.
Yes.
And I look forward to hearing more about what they're talking about and see if we can perhaps include in what they're looking at to make sure that as we update our infrastructure, we update it in environmentally friendly ways, not just to increase different transit options, but also to make sure that the materials are a benefit to the environment and potentially to cooling the city.
I can forward you the materials, Catherine, if you'd like.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
I will do that.
All right, we've had a couple other folks call in and sign in. So we are in public comment period. If you would like to make a public comment, please go ahead and raise your hand. All right, hearing none, seeing none, we're going to move ahead to committee member news and announcements. So I have one quick announcement about a committee member. Our former committee member, Hannah, has had to step away from the committee, which leaves us only a committee of 2. So I would welcome anyone that is interested in joining the environmental committee. You do not have to be a board member to be on the committee. You can be a stakeholder, a member of the public. So please reach out if you are interested in joining the committee. Susanna, any other committee member news and announcements about environmental?
No, one thing which I should have mentioned to you before preparing the agenda, but I don't know if that's going to be under new biz. It was just, you know, at the beginning of 2022, SB 1383 was put into action, which means, you know, we have to manage our organic waste. And that's sort of requested by Los Angeles, but they haven't really put anything in motion on how to do it. I remember I was part of a test where I got a little bucket that sits on my kitchen counter, but it doesn't look like they're going to do it for the rest of the city, though.
Yeah, so that's something that's sort of confusing to me about how much of it is on the individual versus on the infrastructure, on the city to make that accessible. Because, you know, I live in an apartment. I can't really control a whole lot about how my trash is collected. No.
And I mean, I was dumping my food waste into the green bin, but apparently, it's I think they need to, I don't know if we can contact, or I should contact somebody in the city and just see if they kind of have what I call a roadmap to implementing this, or if it's just up to ourselves.
I think that would be really helpful. And if you want me to talk to anyone, please let me know. A place to start might be with our CD2 office. They might be able to direct you to where someone in the city could actually help answer your questions.
So that was sort of a small thing, not a small thing, because it is actually quite significant what we can do in order to remove waste from the dumps. So I'll do that and kind of take that one on as a report back to the next meeting.
Thank you. That would be great. Anything else that you want to add to future agendas, or that is part of just member news and announcements?
No, not at the moment.
Okay, great. Then diving into our ongoing business, obviously Earth Day is coming up in April, and we are not doing our Earth Day Taste of Toluca event yet. Perhaps next year that'll happen. The pandemic has really thrown off gatherings, obviously. So I would love ideas and suggestions for how we as GTLNC can recognize the day, you know, aside from just having a post on social media or putting something in the newsletter. Is there anything more that we can do?
In terms of Earth Day, in terms of organic waste management, could be one thing, but that's more like a communication piece. But if the city is not ready to move on it, that's sort of my, you know, the catch-22. So that's what I want to find out. But otherwise, we could make a small communications piece in honor of Earth Day if there are some action items we can put down, depending on what CD2 and the city says.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be a good idea. And I would welcome anyone that has called in or signed into this Zoom. Feel free to raise your hand. If you're a dial-in, *9 should allow you to raise your hand if you're interested in commenting on any items. Yeah, I mean, I think Earth Day, as far as what GTLNC can do without doing anything in person this year, it feels like the biggest thing is the education piece, is doing something in our social media, something in our newsletter. And, you know, Susanna, you've identified a great opportunity for if there is going to be a change to how our city is handling organic waste, and there's something that us as individuals need to do versus even just informing the public that there is a change to how the city is processing it, would be an interesting educational piece.
I mean, I could also put, so getting going on it and see what the feedback is. I can put something together that we could maybe post and communicate.
That would be wonderful.
At least as a status and what the plan is, because it was communicated back in November in LA Times, and I just sort of, for fun of it, went up and looked at some websites, but it's still very vague.
Yeah.
So I'll take that on and see what date is Earth Day again, so I don't pass the deadline.
Earth Day is April 22nd.
Okay, good.
So we are going to have a meeting of EAC again on April 12th, since this is technically our February meeting that got pushed. And we can discuss more then, the language or any updates that you have on it. One other thing that I was thinking, and it's on the agenda, is doing a 3-mile challenge promotion between Earth Day and Bike to Work Day, which are about a month apart. Earth Day is April 22nd and Bike to Work Day is May 20th. And so the 3-mile challenge, and hang on one moment, I'm just going to pull up a better blurb on it than the one I can just personally remember off the top of my head. So the 3-mile challenge comes from transit studies that use 3 miles as the distance that's considered to be a walkable or bikeable trip. And in LA, as of a couple years ago, about half of all trips in the Los Angeles area are 3 miles or less. And 87% of those trips, so that's almost 9 out of 10, are taken by car. Many of those, most of those, by single drivers. So the 3-mile challenge challenges you to take a trip of 3 miles or less that you would normally drive without using your car. So this could be anything from walking, biking, using an electric scooter, or taking a bus, or, well, you're probably not going less than 3 miles on the metro, but theoretically. And so, you know, we did this a few years ago, and this would be sort of a social media campaign to try to get people to post about any time that they take a 3-mile trip without using their car. They would just hashtag 3-mile challenge and put a little blurb about what that is. I see a hand up. So Jack, you can go ahead and unmute yourself.
See, here's the thing, though. Who actually cares is what I'm trying to say. What you just said right now means nothing, like absolutely nothing. Can you get that in your thick skull? What you said right now means nothing.
Okay, so just a further explanation, part of the reason that we like to get people out of single-use vehicles is that's a big contributor to poor air quality and, of course, to climate change overall, to the greenhouse gases. But one of the biggest things is it does affect your immediate air quality, which can impact not only health, things like asthma, breathing ability, but also even the heat within the city. Smog can trap the heat within the city. So I realize that person was just coming on to be contrarian, but I do think it's important to understand why we even want people to get out of their vehicles. single driver vehicles. And obviously it's not possible for everyone. We understand that, but if people that are physically able to and economically able to use options other than a single occupancy vehicle, that's an improvement.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. And if Jack has any other suggestions, I would
I
be
don't think
happy
Jack
to hear
has,
so.
has constructive suggestions. He has left the meeting.
And also it's something that we didn't invent, but is done by other or initiated earlier by somebody else. So,
Jonathan, you can go ahead.
Hi, thank you very much. I wanted to thank you for your patience and your perfect regard for that comment. I'm regretful that those sort of things happen. And I think that you should be thanked for doing the democratic thing, which is just listening. It wasn't properly phrased. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jonathan. All right. Are there any other suggestions for how we could celebrate Earth Day or, promote some education around green opportunities, especially in the month of April and following the month of April?
I mean, but it's not really us, it's LA Department of Water and Power. They, I don't know if you also communicate. They do have classes in greening, drought resistant planting and how to do that. And I went through their courses years ago, and I actually converted my yard and do see significant saving in water usage. And I don't know if that's something we should
I think that's
make people
great.
more aware of.
Yeah, a few months ago, we promoted the LA City composting tutorials that they have online. So I think that's great. Susanna, if you happen to know offhand or be able to email me a link to that, otherwise I will make sure to go look it up. And I think that's something that we can promote, all of the learning tools that are available through the city. And if there are any other groups, nonprofits that have put these virtual learning opportunities online, now that the pandemic has taken away some of our in-person opportunities, there's a lot more that's been put online in the last couple of years. So I think it'd be great for us to highlight more of those.
And also, now I'm thinking out loud, is Theodore Payne Foundation. That's up in Sun Valley or Sunland, that works on California natives, and they run classes too. So I'll get you a list of stuff.
Great, thank you. Which brings us to new business and future projects. And there are 3 items here, which all sort of go together, which are planning for environmental committee activities, goals, and outreach for this year, identifying any city council actions that we as a neighborhood council want to make comment on. Potentially, these would be community impact statements or CISs. And we're also looking for candidates to be the GTLNC Neighborhood Council Sustainability Alliance representative. And you don't have to be a board member to be the NCSA rep. You can be just a member of the public, a stakeholder for GTLNC. So if anyone has ideas or comments on any of those items, if there are city council actions that you would like GTLNC to make a comment on, specifically related to environmental, that's not for all areas of what the city council does. And if anyone is interested in being our NCSA rep, love to hear from you. I do think that having someone that's able and available to attend NCSA meetings on a somewhat regular basis and bring those items back to the EAC, to the Environmental Affairs Committee, so that we could potentially take action on them, whether it is education campaigns and outreach in the GTLNC area or potential community impact statements that they're talking about making. It would be very helpful to have
I'll consider it. Yeah, I can consider it, but let me just check, because I have my coming months is little heavy work.
No, I totally
wise.
understand. It's hard. I'm trying to balance being on 3 committees.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm also on. Yeah, I gotta be careful.
I mean, I think one of the things that's come out of this meeting is perhaps the best way we as a currently 2-person committee can do our work is to be basically offering outreach opportunities,
Mhm.
informing our neighborhood about what's going on. Because we can't really be everywhere at once, but we could maybe put together a post to go in the newsletter every month
Yeah.
with an update or an opportunity for someone to attend an online class.
Mhm. At least for a start, and hopefully we can get some more momentum going.
Well, if there's anything else that people would like us to add to future agendas, go ahead, raise your hand. Susanna, if you have anything else.
No, I gave myself 2 tasks, so.
Yes, and thank you for taking those on. I really, really do appreciate it.
Yeah, no, I needed to do something.
All right. Well, we'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting at 6:23 p.m. For anyone that has signed on for the exec committee meeting, this Zoom is going to close briefly, and then you can re-sign in using the same meeting ID if you would like to be attending exec. All right. Thank you all. We'll be right back momentarily with a different regularly scheduled program.